In the next 2 to 3 years, everyone, same way every company has an Instagram or a website, everyone will have their own custom LoRa. If you didn't have any business, any name, and you wanted to make money with these LoRas, which of these businesses would you do?
That is a really good question. Well, the first thing I would do is...
We've both made a video on making fine-tuned AI image models. What do you think is the biggest opportunity with these LoRas?
Dude, first of all, I just want to start by saying the LoRas are insane. I could not believe the quality we got when we trained. I give it like 12 photos and like, I don't know, I can flash an image up of the Superman stuff. It literally blew my mind. What's the biggest application? So, because we're on YouTube, first thing came into my mind was like YouTube thumbnails have completely changed forever. Even things like personalized outreach to businesses. So for example, if you're doing the whale strategy where you do like fewer high quality outreaches, you can start to train these models on prospective clients. So for example, let's say you want to reach to Alex Hormozi, train a model on Alex Hormozi, get him dressed as Batman, have yourself as Robin and say, hey, I think we'd make a kick-ass team doing X. It's enough to get the conversation started. So we're now in an era where we can get, I actually think probably indistinguishable level of quality of images between that and real life. So dude, you're limited by your imagination and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm telling people. One issue I see is people try to compete with photos, right? They try to compete on accuracy, but that's not the point. As you said, creativity is the advantage of AI, right? So you can take somebody, either a face, you know, some celebrity, or, you know, somebody who you want to make thumbnails for, or yourself or your family member, and put them in any situation, on the moon, in the middle of a volcano. Also for the product, people think like, oh, I'm going to compete on accuracy in terms of like, you know, photograph with a white background and AI image with a white background. That's not the right strategy. You want to compete on creativity and putting the product into different situations that would otherwise be either just impossible or insanely expensive, right? So that is the play, really, I see. And yeah, I agree. Like it's all about, you know, creativity. People just need to be more creative, and with AI, they can make anything.
I think so. And it's also like, okay, here you've got awareness is going to be really low. Of those that are aware, those that can do is infinitesimal. Like if you're watching this podcast, you're already in the 1%, you're solid. But then it's like, even those that do it will play around with it, but they won't go and do an application with it. It's actually, in my experience, how you take it and do something different. So for example, let's say that you want to do AI children's books, where for example, the user, the child creates these stories. Well, what does it mean? It now means we can have this kid dressed as Batman one night, Superman the next night. What kid doesn't want to see themselves as like their favorite superhero? And like that itself is a full market that does not exist yet. And it's like, the thing is, guys, like these technologies come out and then all of a sudden it's just overnight, these opportunities are there and you can jump on it and smash it. And the average person has no idea how easy or how difficult it is to do these things. So dude, I think literally like there are multiple businesses that have emerged because of these LoRas.
I've seen argument of like people saying like, if it's so good, why wouldn't companies do it themselves? And that is definitely not the right attitude, because number one, most people don't even know this is possible. Number two, if they know it's possible, they don't know how to do it. Number three, if they know how to do it, they don't have the time, right? So there's like so many different value propositions you can give to companies or influencers that would need this. I mean, I'm of the belief, I don't know about you, Jack, I think that in the next 2 to 3 years, everyone, same way every company has an Instagram or a website, everyone will have their own custom LoRa. I think it's just going to happen.
Has to happen. And actually, I just want to drill down the point you made there, which is inspired, which is the fact that if it were good, why has no one done it? It's the same reason why Google purchased Waze. It's the same reason why Amazon bought Twitch. Okay, you have to look at like structural advantages. Okay, big organizations have more capital typically if they're doing very well, and so they can deploy things. But ultimately, like one of the observations I had from coming from the corporate world, and one of my best friends joined me in my team, and we were talking about the difference of working at a large organization and an own startup or your own particular thing. One of the like literal superpowers is speed of delivery. You can go from an idea at 8 o'clock, like you and I just had a chat right ahead of this call, and we came up with like 3-4 ideas. They'll be done within about a day. They're all complete. In corporate, you've got like a week of red tape. You've got bureaucracy, you've got calls, you've got to think about who am I going to email. There's an inbuilt latency into the corporate model to get these innovations off the ground. Stakeholder engagement, budget. You have so many advantages as a solopreneur or a small team that just completely out trump. And just because the big guys can doesn't mean that they will. Oftentimes as well, like guys, when these big companies and businesses think, oh, that's really cool, I want to do it, they ask the question, do we buy or do we build? And if it's easier, quicker, better just to buy you, they'll scoop you up and bring you in because it's more expensive to get the team. And also, who's running the team? Like, you know, you're going to be a superstar. You can outperform these random crappy corporates. So it's a strong limiting belief that probably 9 out of 10 people at least have that belief system. And if you can just change the way you think on that, you'll absolutely smash it.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk more about mindset and limiting beliefs because that's one of the things I noticed stops people the most in making money with AI. But let's talk about this LoRa's, Flux One. I think it is revolutionary because it is the first time that we have the best image model that is open source, right? I think everything like Midjourney was always ahead of Stable Diffusion, right? And now it is the argument that Flux is better. Obviously, you can say like Midjourney is more aesthetic, for some styles it looks better, but Flux is definitely more realistic. There is no arguing about that. And it is open source, right? You cannot use Midjourney to make LoRa's of yourself. You can use Flux. So I think this is absolutely huge. And I think over time, again, this is Flux 1. What about Flux 2? People are like, oh my god, you can still see, sometimes the hands are still not perfect, sometimes you can see the style, but like, guys, let's look into the future, 3, 6, 9 months. It's only gonna get better. So learn the skills now, because again, every company will need this. And those who cannot do it themselves, maybe large corporations who have AI departments will do it themselves, right? But small and medium-sized businesses, those are the ones who will not do it themselves because they don't know how, they cannot do it, or it would just be like way too much time to learn it. I think the opportunity to build like a, let's say you have some e-commerce company, right? That's selling physical products. They have to spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars every single year on photographers, studios, models, traveling. If you build the LoRa and offer it to them, it's like a instantly 4-figure offering. And that's exactly the system we teach in the new society. Inside, I show you step by step how to make your first $1,000 with AI. And you can do this even if you are a complete beginner. Click the link below the video to find out more. That's one business opportunity I believe in. What about you, Jack? Do you see any other business applications when it comes to these Flux LoRa's?
100%. I also want to pick on your point about Midjourney as well. Like, I found a way to get the API to create Midjourney, automate Midjourney images. But my goodness, dude, you have to take some left turns, take the scenic route. Flux is innovating on user-side application. Like, and your point there, David, about like getting you in the images is huge. And I like that just generally like big pictures, I funnel down to the answer to the question. I like that it's hitting up. I like that it's getting more competitive. And Flux is saying, hey, dude, like, yes, you're amazing, Midjourney, but you're lacking a little bit. You're getting a little soft. You're taking your foot off the gas. So I like that we're challenging on that. Application-wise, dude, I mean, you think about stock images. Like in my last tech startup, I got fined $5K for using an image off Google. And dude, I wish it was a really cool image. It was a boring ass building of a bank. Like that's how bad this image was. And there's like a couple of them, and they like scout into that, and they try and find you, and then they find you and stuff. So that was my wonderful introduction to image copyright. But and that's why I'm so like keen on this stuff. I'm like, dude, it's like all the copyright, the Shutterstock stuff, because sometimes it's just tough to get the right images for the project that you need.
Yeah.
To get something that's realistic is game changing. It's absolutely huge. I think a lot of the innovation now we can get humans in the images. I think the two channels I think are going to push up next, which open up even more avenues. One is the text, not only accuracy, which they're getting pretty accurate now, but also the font, the typography, and eventually the editability of that text. And then the other avenue is just going to be user-side application. How easy is it to use? How easy is it to edit the image? Photoshop have started to do a little bit on that, right? You can like highlight it and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, if we're going to be honest, it's a little hit and miss sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah,
the best feature of that is just basically expand the background, but it's not great in certain things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still use it often, right? When I make thumbnails, the generative fill is for sure handy because it's right there. And I don't think they're trying to like compare with Midjourney in terms of generating the whole image. It's just like, changing the background, extending it.
Yeah.
Those little touch-ups, it's really great at, right? And I think maybe we'll see different AI companies for different things. Maybe Midjourney remains the king of like stylistic, aesthetic images, but then Flux is for the open source. Photoshop is for the details. They obviously have a huge market with like entire Adobe suite of products. But like Midjourney really doesn't like the third-party APIs. They've already shut down multiple providers. So yeah, I think we'll see. But I'm bullish on open source. I don't know about you. I think open source is going to dominate. Yeah. Like you can train your own model for $2 on Replicate. Right? It's insane, right? Some people still complain it's not free, which is just crazy. But if you think about the cost of building LLMs, like the top tier LLMs, it's like tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, right? You can go on Replicate and spend $2 or $3 to create high quality model of yourself. We're not talking about images that don't look like you. We're talking about stuff that could be passed off as you easily, right? So yeah, I think $2 is a banger, especially given you can sell this for like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
You 100% can. And it's like, you're so right. I like the open source nature of these image gens. especially like gut flux, right? And the guy just built on the photorealism. This one's going to be trained on you. But then you could have like product shots that
Yeah.
specify in a particular thing. Like I was watching a good podcast on the All In podcast. They were talking about, they had, I think it was a board member of Microsoft and initial investor in OpenAI. And he was sharing his thoughts on direction of travel about models. And obviously like you can 10x the parameters, but the cost like often goes up in proportion to that. And that the structural future is actually highly specialized niche models. And I think that kind of like work agentically, right? And I think actually, like when it comes to everyone's got like, if you think about image gen, there's usually like probably 100 different defined use cases. And actually, if you just had a highly specialized model in each of those things, almost like a watch that you customize, that is absolutely way better than Midjourney. Because Midjourney may do like an 8 out of 10 on everything, but Flux can do a 10 out of 10 on the very
Yeah.
specific thing that you need, which is way, way more handy.
Yeah, for sure. If you didn't have any business, any name, and you wanted to make money with these LoRa's, which of these businesses would you do? Would it be the children's book? Would it be the product photos, or something completely different?
Okay, and I have to use the LoRa's?
Yeah, Flux One LoRa's, like something in this. If you had to start a business here, what would you pick?
That is a really good question. Well, the first thing I would do is I would think about like my adjacent skill sets. So, for example, let's say that like I run an MMA gym, right? And I'm amazing at MMA and I've got a network in MMA. That might mean I do something in the MMA space. So I would look at like the other starting stats I have. Like, do I have like level 90 and X, Y, and Z? And I would use that to influence for sure. If I was trying to start with a blank slate, where do I think the money's at with that? I'd probably help businesses increase their revenue by using AI image gen and the outreach. So I would build probably automations on, we will find you 1,000 leads relevant to your niche, and we will build custom images that will help you drive and get better conversions because of A, B, and C. Or we would do a more concentrated strategy where I'd say like, we work with you to identify your top 20 clients. And then what we actually do is a really dedicated outreach strategy to these guys using these specific AI image gens of that individual and probably leverage it into an existing business. It's a nice little bit of a flare and energy. Or if I wanted to go mass market, what would be an excellent way to do that? You know what you could do actually, if I just like took a step back, is actually I'd say, okay, I've got a better answer now. So after I've taken a sip of this coffee, David, I've got a better answer. I would sit at the platform level where I would try to create different models for different use cases. So I'd probably look at the brand placement ones. So for example, no one's really addressing the whole, this is my product. I want it in all my images. So I'd find a good model or like loads of different models that help people do that as a for instance. And then you're talking coffee shops, you're talking everybody. So you could sit down and build bespoke image shots for their websites. So I'd either do the platform level, which is building loads of mini like LoRa's for specific image use cases, or I would do one that just makes brand product shots amazing and yeah, start reaching out, give like sample images to different businesses, build automations to outreach and say, hey, here's your coffee cup looking amazing in all these environments and backgrounds and send it out. But I think that would be a pretty cool way.
So just choose one niche that would benefit from very visual stuff. One good example I have is travel agencies, right? That's all about like how the images look like. So fine tune a model for that, and then basically pitch every single company in that niche on this model, because you can use a simple closer like, look, if you're not gonna do it, somebody else will. So you might as well take the opportunity to be the market leader in XYZ niche.
You're so right. The fine tuning of the model, if you can do that yourself, is excellent because that's now something that no one else has. You've built it for a specific purpose.
And I agree with your earlier point, like stock image and video is just that, right? Nobody's going to pay for subscription to like Enviro Elements or any other, service when you can just use either image services or video services like Sora or something else to just generate exactly what you're imagining. And let's be honest, it's going to cost like $20 a month. And you can just generate anything. And yeah, I think stock image and video is going to be like 90% that. Maybe some like, historic documentaries where they really need accurate shots that actually happened. But other than that, like, why not just use Midjourney, use Flux to generate the perfect image you need in a few seconds for, fractions compared to these. Like some of these Getty images cost like hundreds of dollars per image. It's ridiculous, man.
It is. And I also wonder if there's an opportunity to be like the AI Pexels, the AI Unsplash.
Probably,
where you kind of, what you would do, it's okay. So if you look at Midjourney search is epic, right? Like that's good. You can type in AI and you see it. But imagine if you could parameterize it and add filters, say these dimensions, this style, and you make it very simple interface. And then essentially all your content is user generated. And then they self-select the thing.
That's
so
important.
it's got auto categorization into it. It's free for like 20 downloads, and then you pay a subscription, and then we basically like do a rev share with all the contributors based on your downloads per month. So it's actually like you can get paid for your images on a platform, and you take a small platform fee for using that. And then also on top of that, you could do celebrity stuff. Like let's say you get like loads of Conor McGregor images, right? And I want to use a Conor McGregor image for a video I do, but I don't want to pay Getty prices. I'll just get an AI generated version of it, and then boom, there you go. So I think there could be like really interesting AI stock photo platform opportunities. I haven't seen a platform like that, but I think if that existed and ultimately you're enabling your user base to generate income, I think that gets very interesting.
I think it will exist. Like, again, it's becoming to the point where you can't even tell what's AI, what's not, right? Imagine 1 to 2 years in the future where it's really impossible. Why would you go to Pexels, assuming Pexels don't adapt, right? Like, why would you go to one of these sites that only have real photos when there will be another site that has 10 times the selection and the images are just much better because, you can do anything with AI. And again, there are so many people creating thousands of images with AI who don't get paid a single dime. They just do it because they love it. AI art is addictive. Everybody can remember the first time they generated AI images, right? So I think even if the people weren't paid crazy amounts, just some reasonable rev share, there's many AI artists who would jump on that. So like, I think the key is really building into the platform the self-selection rating where the users can choose which is the best image, and then the people can search up, aspect ratios, different parameters. But like, I think it will exist. Why not?
And actually, guys, it's not even the AI image gen that you don't have to distinguish on the generated images. You can just generate on the filters and the categorization. That is enough to make a difference because of the usability aspect of it. And then it's like a lot of people are then thinking, okay, especially what I've heard a lot of interest on is, okay, I get these images, therefore, how do I turn that into video? There's such a drive and interest in video gen off the back of these images now. Like you create an AI photo version of yourself, how do I turn video? Which I think is the next quantum leap we get with video gen. But to be honest with you, I've seen good. I mean, I've done automations on AI generated videos, but the reality of it is like video gen is missing that kind of first. It's missing its kind of like this works really well model that everyone could just access and use to generate stuff at will.
Yeah, I think it will happen though. It's only a matter of time. That's why I'm so bullish on AI images and AI videos, because they're not as advanced as text, right? Text already had the ChatGPT moment, and sure, there will still be probably improvements in language models, but not as big of a shock as was with GPT-4, right, and GPT 3.5. So I think AI images and videos will experience massive improvements. I mean, AI images are already basically there, right? So especially video in the next year, 2 years, I think it will do the same as images. It will just go from being like, oh, this is impressive, to, wow, now it's starting to look realistic, to like, I can't even tell. So there are so many companies who are just running paid ads in images. You could just take them, turn them into videos by adding like a panning or like zooming, right? And offer that for like $300-400 a month. Many people would buy that. So there is so many different AI business models right now, just, when it comes to images and videos. It's kind of crazy, man.
Well, what about, and like they've tried to build this into platform, but like, even if you think about, I think if you are looking at business cases in AI image gen, go very niche, go very, very niche. You do not need to go broad, go extremely niche. Yeah. What's an example of something really niche? How about this? This is more AI enhanced than AI gen, but let's say you take a photo out with your girlfriend, right? You're out, you're having a great time, you got a photo, but there's a dude in the back, right?
Yeah.
How do you get rid of that guy? Well, you can Photoshop and autofill him out. But imagine if you just had a really simple function where you could say, it just flips up like 5 alternatives of the same image, which is like 95% the same, but it just kind of like, I don't know, like sorts the background out a little bit or just enhances the colors a little bit. So it's like, it's the same image. It's just got that nice little AI sparkle to it. And it doesn't feel the same as like, you're generating images, but you're doing a better job at the touching up to remove the things people don't want. I think I saw this on a Samsung advert. I don't know if they've embedded that in the photos or not, but I'm thinking along those lines, take a step further. I mean, like we could do that right now. I mean, that's the weird thing about it. Like that technology is available, but these companies are so slow to deliver it. It's like little applications like that, I think, make a huge difference.
People don't want to post AI stuff, right? I don't know why, but whatever. Obviously, they want like fake stuff, but I'm talking about like anything that's AI involved. But you have to think about this like it's not a yes or no. It's a continuum, right? If somebody uses like the iPhone default, like, improve this photo, whatever it's called, right? To kind of bring in the highlights, make the background darker. Is that AI? When somebody removes, as you said, a person in the background, is that AI photo suddenly? I think it's like a scale, right? when you take like something completely generated on Midjourney and a real photograph that doesn't have any editing, it's only a scale. So at what point is it considered like this is a fake AI photo, like you were not in that location, blah, blah, blah? At what point is it just like I removed a few people? You know, it's an interesting question.
It is on a continuum. And here's the thing, guys, like big businesses pay a lot. Like one of my friends was telling me that like a large international company paid £50,000. It's about $66K for some AI generated images. They got 8 of them and they were shocking. The opportunity is massive, especially for like large companies. They will pay good money for good AI generated images. It isn't as prolific as you think because you're in the ecosystem, you're in the niche. And most people can't tell the difference. Have you seen the meme on Facebook where they're like, it's like African children building stuff? And like the one I saw was like the Coke bottles, and like they just get more out. Like one's like a rocket ship, like taller than the Burj Khalifa, and everyone's like, man, this guy, the kid's going places. He's so talented. It's like people really don't. They don't know the difference.
Yeah, I mean that's another great point. People like 95% of population still hasn't even heard of AI or AI images, and even 99 of those that did, they cannot tell the difference. And as you said, like some of these Facebook images that are targeting like 50 plus, you know, the older audience, those images aren't even like good, right? Those aren't even like top flux, fine-tuned, realistic images, but still many people believe it. So I think the need for everything to feel like, to be like 100% real, there's a lot of fear or like a lot of limiting beliefs when it comes to, oh, this is AI, we don't want to do that. And I think people who like can do a bit of selling, right, some closing, will just make so much money because they can convince companies like, look, yeah, I understand you want to do AI, but you have real product photos on your website. So if we just use this in your social media, in your paid ads to attract viewers, and then, you know, they buy on the website where they're real dimensions, you know, real product photos, that's completely fine, as long as you're not trying to present it as something fake, right? But again, you don't want to compete with photos. You want to use the advantages that AI has and just become super creative. And I mean, maybe you can even get inspired by the people who are like Indian building statues of Jesus on Facebook, right? Like those people were creative, and those, I've seen the engagement of those posts, and it's like millions of likes, you know, it's crazy.
I don't know if it looks as realistic, but I'm seeing in my mind, you upload a photo that you like, and you say, great, can you just change the color of the suit? And then the suit color changes. Like the best example I've seen of David is Ray-Bans. I think it's like they'll throw the product on your head. They've done like Laura's on products. So like you upload a photo of you and then it puts you in their clothes or something like that is like literally perfect. But I think a good consideration, bro, if you think about like this AI job erosion thing happens like piece by piece. And I'm just thinking like photography wise, this idea of going out and taking photos of like things, it's as valuable as having an authentic and real photo is valuable. And I think as the technology improves, the case for rediversification of your skills only gets better. Like you have to keep looking at that, like whatever industry that you're in.
Again, it's all about just technology keeps improving, right? So there is no point resisting that. Even if you are in one of these industries that are at risk, why not just embrace it instead of trying to fight it and be the like the first adopters? There's so many industries where it is so easy to be the first adopters, because nobody's embracing it. And again, people think like they need to be some expert like Ondrej Karpathy, right? That's not the case. You just need to know more than others. Like if you want to teach something, all you need is to know more than them. You don't have to be Albert Einstein, right? So again, if your company is not related with AI, but you might be like, let's say you have like 200 people in your company, right? It's easy to become the AI guy. That is such an advantage because like they see you as looking forward to the future. And even if your position directly is not related to that, something else in the company will, and it will be valuable.
So yeah, completely agree. Completely agree.
From your experience, what is the best platform to sell AI services on? Is it LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, something else?
The platform is irrelevant. It's like the biggest mistake I see people make is they try to do every platform at the same time. It's like you can do any platform, but you cannot do every platform. So people are making multiple 6 figures on every platform. If you do YouTube videos, people reach out and say, hey, could you do this for me? If you do LinkedIn posts, you become an expert. You can do it on that. So I would actually push back and say it isn't which is the best platform. I think it's the funny story actually. Okay, so I was doing a masterclass in my community, and I was talking about this exact topic about platforms. And I was saying the funny thing is like I'm on YouTube, right? You're on YouTube. We love YouTube. YouTube's amazing.
Yeah.
I said, but if I wanted to target like the CEO of an energy company, like how many CEOs of energy companies are watching YouTube? I said they're probably not. They're probably on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the call, this girl said, Jack, I have to say, like, I found your videos, like, you won't actually believe this, but my husband is the CEO of an energy company, and I showed him your videos. And I was like, okay, that's just ridiculous. I was like, that's insane. And what does that story show? A, it was funny, because I said they wouldn't be watching it, and they were, which is cool. But the other thing was that, like, dude, they can catch you on any platform. I prefer YouTube because you can build more trust, and I feel like trust is important if you're going to work together. But ultimately, dude, I think you just got to pick one and go deep into it. Like the short form content's a different beast. But my preference and bias is always for YouTube, but you can do a great job on LinkedIn as well. I would personally prefer YouTube, but you can do any of them, I think. What do you think, David?
I think the issue with like organic content, especially YouTube, is that it takes so much time to get good at it, right? Personally, it took me like 2 years before I really got any meaningful amount of views, and
Yeah,
a lot of people don't have 2 years to constantly fail. So I think like cold outreach is probably the best method of making money in the shortest amount of time. But I definitely agree that they should focus on one platform. People try to go for 5 different niches on 4 different platforms, like, constantly changing the offer, and they don't really become good at anything. If you just focus on Instagram, if you just focus on LinkedIn, you will master the nuances of those platforms. You will see what works, because the first opening DM, it will work differently on every platform. So you need to test, and you need to focus on one thing and focus on one niche. That's also, you said that earlier, but focusing on one niche is so important, because you can tailor your messaging and your marketing to the companies in that niche, and like, you need to understand their problems better than them. If you just don't know what problems they have, it's very hard to sell them.
I agree. And I think selling is easier than you think if you have an excellent offer and a product that they want. Oftentimes, if you're selling and you've genuinely tried a lot of stuff and it hasn't worked, it's usually because something's wrong with the offer,
Yeah.
actually, and the product itself. This is the best analogy I ever heard for business. And I think it's true for YouTube because, bro, I did same here, a couple of years. Like, you spend that time building the videos up and they flop. And it takes a certain kind of mindset to say, cool, we'll bag the lessons and on to the next video.
Exactly.
You have to have that mindset. I almost wish it wasn't possible to have like a very short term, I need to get rich by December mentality. Because I think when you're trying to get rich as soon as possible, you walk over so much longer term value. Your net value is so much greater if you can just expand your thing. Like when I started YouTube, I said I will do this. I'm taking a 10-year perspective on this. I don't care if I don't go anywhere. I'm committed. I'm just going to try and keep improving. You'll find you'll do better. You'll find you do a lot better with that. I like your point on the cold outreach, but it's also like when you get resonance with an audience, which should always be your first objective, which is resonance with a customer. What does that mean? It means they say, Jack, I love this product. I love what you're doing. You need that kind of positive feedback. It's like metal detector on the beach. You switch to beeps and they come back. So you got to pick a platform and commit to it. Most people I see that try to do something like YouTube, the vast majority of them stop. Yeah. They just quit before they get anywhere. And it's like, if you can just be consistent, you'll win.
Yeah, but people need to see that first win, right? It's the same as going to the gym. It's not about like, you becoming jacked in 2 weeks, but it's like losing the first 5 pounds of weight or whatever. Seeing that first win is huge, and that's what like gets people hooked. So I think organic content is tough because, again, it takes a lot of time to get going. Paid ads is also tough because it costs money, right? So I think for most people watching this, the most practical is definitely cold outreach. And yeah, I mean, the offer is everything. Like, one tip is obviously this book, we both know it. Hormozi's book on offers, amazing, right? A lot of, like, if you just read it, like people watching, you will see that your offer sucks, right? You don't have good guarantees, you don't have any scarcity, any urgency, any bonuses. Like, there's so many ways to make your offer more appealing that you can charge more and get higher close rates. One guarantee that I really like is like, I will keep working with you until these AI images outperform your photos. That is a very compelling guarantee, and that's just like one, aspect in enhancing your offer.
I agree, and I think here's the biggest thing I would say. If you are starting from zero, start doing the work for free, and you will get the job. If you went to an organization and said, dude, like, I've built these 10x, insert X with your niche for you, I want to bless you, I think it's going to add value. If you start doing the job and doing the thing you want to get paid for, they will start paying you for it. The reason this works is because no one will do the work. That's the no one actually will do the work. So if I wanted to sell image gen, I'd go to the company and say, dude, I'm a big love of your product. I built these different images that can be used in X, Y, and Z. Here you go, have them. Start building them and start giving them away. Working for free is the fastest way. The problem is that we're conditioned to believe that if you work hard in a certain area, that will result. Dude, rewards are unfair. You can get disproportionate rewards for disproportionately small efforts.
Yeah.
And you can put a lot of effort and not much reward. And that's the way that it works. And that is the game. So your job is to figure out where the points of leverage are and use them.
But on that point, I think one very common pattern I'm seeing in the AI space is that people are paying attention to it, like our viewers, right? A lot of them are paying attention, they know what's happening, but a lot of them are waiting. It's like, guys, in the AI space is moving so fast, there is no time to wait. Again, it might be that your first 4 ideas fail or first 7 ideas, doesn't matter, but you cannot be waiting. You have to do something, whether it is building automations, building agents, building custom LoRa's, do something. There's so many different avenues in the AI space. Don't just watch videos and then be like, okay, yeah, I have that ego boost, I'm up to speed, this week's AI news, whatever. You have to do something. You have to try new AI tools, try something building with them, either for yourself or, you know somebody who has a company or some company in your area, doesn't matter. But like start taking some action, because looking back in 5 years, in 10 years, when, we will see like this was the golden days of the AI revolution, you will regret it if you just didn't do anything. So if I could say one thing to people watching, just take action and do something.
You need to increase your surface area to luck. That's the bottom line. Like, it's action points that do that. It's like, one of the questions you can ask yourself is, what have I done with that knowledge? Like, what's actually changed as a result of me knowing that? Have I put a product on Etsy? Have I actually made an action? Have I created an offer somebody can buy? Like, just do it. And like, do you know, Dave, do you know what the funniest like expression I heard that resonated with me that like I don't hear very often is that success is brewed in a dirty kitchen. Because I have this like inclination to want to get like the strategy and everything written out.
Same.
But it's like, no, dude, it's messy. You get the knowledge and go, dude, boom. It doesn't have to. Perfect is the enemy of like great or like success, I think they say. So it's like, if it's perfect, you waited too long. That's the reality of it. You waited way too long if it's perfect. You've got to just do it. Like when I launched my school community, for example, I built the plane as I was flying it, literally. Like, it wasn't great the first like day, but it was like, cool, they got it. I just made it. It's awesome. You just go and have a bias for action on it, bro. That's like the bottom line.
For sure, man. And it's also impossible to make it perfect without testing action, right? Like we cannot just sit there and think like, what would be the perfect video without uploading any. You need the feedback from the market, from the audience, right? So it is a fallacy thinking that, oh, I'm gonna keep preparing, improving my product, improving my offer, and then I'm gonna send out some cold DMs. It's like, no, you need to see what resonates with people, what they want, what they respond to, what they don't want, what kind of concerns they give you, right? Why they don't buy, why they buy. You need that data. You cannot just invent in your head by sitting and preparing and like choosing the right niche and stuff like that. At some point, you just need to go out there and make it and fail, right? You will probably fail a lot, but you will never get to that perfect status or period, but also you will never approach perfection without taking action. And I think a lot of people, at least what I see, is that really mindset is the difference between them making money and they're not, right?
No, so I was going to say that's so true. And it's like with Alex, I don't know, when I met Hormozy, that was one of the things that stuck with me was the dirty 4-letter word work. He was just after it. We did the full workshop, the full day. Right, guys, now he wants to learn some courses about ads. And he was like, dude, he's getting the reps in. He's getting the reps in. And you could see why he's successful, because he's doing the reps. And I was like, that's leading by example.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw that, people at that level, they also operate at a completely different level. Really, the amount of time wasted per day is so little. When we finished the workshop, the first half, like somebody brought him a bowl of meat or whatever, and he was eating right away, and he was answering questions while eating. So it's like there was zero wasted time. Everything was so optimized, and yeah, it was just like constant action. And again, you might see like, oh my god, Hormozy, he can record the ads without pausing, without redos, but that's like his 5,000th rep. It's not like his first ad creatives look that way, right? Like, I think mindset really is one of the biggest reasons what's stopping people, because at least what I'm seeing in my communities, people have no problem learning the technical stuff, right? They learn how to build agents, they learn how to use ChatGPT, how prompt engineering, how to build LoRa's. They learn that stuff, right? But then when it comes to business, I see a huge wall of limiting beliefs. Like, oh, I don't want to reach out before. I don't even know what I'm going to sell. I don't know what niche to choose. I was thinking of doing it locally in my city. It's like, guys, like what it is very surprising to me, because I've been like self-improvement house space for like 7 years. So I've gone through all the classic books and all the basics. But then when people go from like, okay, I can build agents, to like, okay, sell it. It's like, oh, whoa, sell it? No.
Whoa, slow down there, guys. Slow down there a little bit. Yeah.
I instantly see the wall of limiting beliefs. It's crazy, man.
You do. And I put on this, like, you're the average of your 5 closest friends, which is why, like, you want to be surrounded by people who are also doing the same thing. If all your friends are stuck in dead-end jobs they don't enjoy, guys, you're playing life on hard mode by doing that. Like, you've got to try and surround yourself with people because that's the influence that's going to like help push you up a little bit. So if you don't have a physical network like that, start building a digital one. Most people, I've also noticed that Killer do work on evenings and weekends. They don't have like strong cutoffs in their head, and I think it kind of makes a difference. If you can do 40% more outputs, yeah, that makes a difference. Here's the thing. There's a lot of lessons you have to learn. The question is, do you need to do it the hard way or the easy way, right? Can you listen to somebody who's done it and benefit from their experience? Or do you need to go and practice it? But just get the reps in and put the work in.
You actually reminded me of a great quote by Jim Rohn that says, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. But just get it done. What I noticed, like the friction of sending 10 DMs, which is what I encourage people to do, the friction in their head is so massive. But when I go and like I pull up my phone and I scroll on Instagram and show how easy it is to send 10 DMs, it's like, whoa, he just did it in like 5 minutes. That's crazy, right? So sometimes a lot of those limiting beliefs are really self-imposed and they're not as scary as you think. And I think one of the greatest books I would recommend on mindset especially is 38 Letters John D. Rockefeller sent to his son or wrote to his son. This is, you know, for those who don't know, John D. Rockefeller was the richest man in the world, and he wrote like really beautiful short letters to his son. It is one of the best books I've ever read because you can see how the wealthiest individual in the world thought about different things, whether it's work, creating your own luck, which is what you mentioned earlier. He spoke about that too. The importance of speed, like being fast, not delaying things. It is just like a masterclass on mindset. So I would definitely recommend everyone read that. I think you can flip every one of these like negative beliefs or excuses and like ask yourself like, would I be happy if, 2 years from now, letting X be the reason I didn't succeed, right? So it is like not knowing which niche to choose. Are you willing to be, that the reason you didn't succeed? Maybe you say like, oh yeah, I don't know, my Instagram doesn't look, or my LinkedIn doesn't look that professional. I don't want to send any reach outs from there. Like, sure, are you willing for that to be the reason you didn't make any money and you didn't succeed? Like, if you flip that way, it's like, of course not. Well, then don't use that as an excuse and just get started. And I think like, what you said, that's really the key. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And thanks to the internet, everybody can choose that, right? It is much harder to relocate, move to a different city or country than to just join a few groups or communities and get access to people who have the same interest and who are preparing for the future and who wanna, the same goals as you have. So I think this is really the key. And your community, my community, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to build the space for like-minded individuals, because I didn't have that group before I started my community. I don't know with you, Jack, but like, I'm benefiting tremendously purely from the network of having other individuals serious about AI. It's like those are becoming my friends now, more than, some of my real life friends, because they have the same interest and they see the future, while most of the people on the street, they're like so consumed with, politics or whatever, they don't even know what's happening.
You're so right, bro. And it's like, you don't want to be an island when you have other people on the same mission. So like even people in our group or like you and I or that we're friends with, it's like they've all got your back. They've all got your best interests at heart. And it's like, if you've got a gap that you don't see, one of these people can say, hey bro, you're missing, just do this. And it's like, you all support each other so you don't fall off the rope. And it's like, great, we're all there to support and lift up. And your chances of failure go down dramatically. Whereas if you're just doing solo YOLO, you don't know your blind spots. You need brothers and sisters and helps and friends, whether it's real life or digital, that can actually say, dude, I've noticed you're letting this slip. Just as a check. Like, yeah, that's really important. You need a community for that. And it's got to be people on the same track as you. I'd say you've got to get people with the same goals who you admire, that are pushing it. Just being around those people, you'll pick things up and it makes a big difference. That's like a structural advantage you can bake into your life that is a complete hack. That's how they destroyed the drug addiction abuse, like the wars and stuff. It was environmental. They took them out of groups of people that were doing it and they put them somewhere else. So it's like an environmental hack. Like it really makes a difference.
Yeah, and you can also learn from the failures of others, right? At the start, there's so much ignorance debt, as Hormozy calls it. You don't know what you don't know. And at the start, you'll make so many mistakes. But if you're surrounded by others who are doing the same thing, you can see them make the mistakes and learn from them, right? And also, seeing other people succeed and make it, it's a huge inspiration bonus, but also huge limiting belief breaker, right? If you see somebody who's like, was at the same level of you, or even better, joined the community later than you and succeeded before you, it's like, oh shit, Like why, why can't I?
Yeah.
Why can't I? So that's perhaps one of the biggest benefits of being in these communities is seeing other people succeed and seeing other people fail and learning from the mistakes and learning from their successes as well. And like, you see somebody else who, has the same interests as you, looks like you, same demographic, and he is making money with AI. Why can't you? And you can apply this to anything in life, right? Losing weight, whatever it is. So I think that's absolutely huge. And just changing the people you surround yourself with will instantly change your mindset.
Dude, that's so funny. I might have said it before, but it's like even grad schemes. Like one guy got like 30K grad scheme. We were like, oh, that's now the new standard. And it's like, I said to my PT, I said, bro, if your friend who's just become a PT, who's like 2 years younger than him, if I told you, he said to you, he made 10K, and let's say you made 5K, how long would it take until you were making 10K? He said, immediately. I said, there's no way I'd let that happen. But like, you can still leverage that, even though that's not happened. But like this, I would guarantee the second your friend makes 10K, you'd be making it within a couple of months. No doubt. It's like, it becomes the standard, and you have to set what the standard is. And when the standard's set, that's what you work to. So it's like, it's wild how much that happens. It really is crazy how that works.
Yeah, it's just hacking human nature, right? Like the basics of social dynamics. Humans are social creatures. Just using that and hacking it in your favor. Yeah, obviously there's so many different things like that are hacking it in the negative favor, right? Like getting you to eat what you don't want to eat, stuff like that, right? But you can use these, basic human nature principles and put them in work for you. So like, if you surround yourself with people who run every day, it is very hard to not lose weight, right? So like, there is so many things you can do to make it much easier. And yeah, environment is everything, and the people make up the environment more than the city or whatever. So absolutely, I want to end it on like a really practical note, Jack. Making money with AI. Any like one thing you would give to people who have this goal, because a lot of people watching have this goal, right? They've learned how to build agents, automations. They know how to use these AI tools, but they want to take it to the next level and start earning money with it. What would you give to those people?
So I'd say first of all, go watch the first episode of this podcast. It should be on my channel by the time you watch this. We go into depth on this question. But if I had to give you one piece of advice, this is God's honest truth about if I have one like North Star in my head, now I make decisions, I only think about how I can give as much value as possible. That's it. It's as simple as that. Why is that so valuable? Well, because it means if your focus is how can I add as much value as possible, by having that as a guiding principle, by nature, you become more valuable. And the more valuable you are, the more you get paid, or the more likely someone is to pay you for the services you're adding. And it matters little, actually, your avenue, your vehicle. Obviously, try and make sure you're in a growing market like AI.
Yeah.
But the what is less relevant than the how in this space. Pick your warrior. They're all amazing. Just be valuable, be consistent, and go niche, and make sure it's a growing market.
I mean, any niche you can become a millionaire in. Very hard to find a niche where you can't be a millionaire in. And also, brilliant point on the free stuff, right? It is much easier to get somebody to agree to do the stuff for free. And if you really deliver on the promise, let's say you get 10 free clients. Not that hard, right? To convince 10 people to accept your free services. Well, you do that for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And then you say like, look, I cannot longer do it for free. I have a lot of demand, blah, blah, blah. Are you willing to pay $300 a month, $500 a month? Some of them will say no, some of them will say yes. But this is perhaps the easiest way to get your first client. Get 10, 20 free clients and then ask them to start paying. And, if you did a good job or even like an okay job, obviously you will not be perfect. Some of them will say yes, and it's always the hardest to get the first one, right? So by offering your services for free and doing them free for like 2-3 weeks and then asking to be paid, that is the way to do it, I think.
You are, and actually I want to build on this as a final point. You're not actually working for free. They're paying you an experience. You're getting incredible knowledge about how good your product is. So just don't be too short-sighted. See it as I'm getting knowledge, which enables me to cut down trees faster and get more wood later. So don't make every decision based on the finance. If you can only make decisions and work based from a financial angle, you're going to make less. That's just the truth. That's just the way that it works.
Yeah, so I want to close this with this, right? If you just listen to what we just said in the last 5 minutes and you are inspired to start taking action, do what Jack said. Don't just think like, okay, I have to do it in 30 days. No, commit for 12 months, right? Right now, school has the feature to join the communities for 12 months. So look into Jack's community, look into my community, choose one of them or both of them ideally, and commit for 12 months. Don't just do 30 days and expect to build a new business in 30 days. That's, very hard. And some people will do it, but most will not. If you join for 12 months, it is very, very difficult to not get the ROI back. So if you're going to do it, join for 12 months. And with that said, I think we can wrap it up, Jack.
Awesome. You've been amazing, David. Catch you on the next episode.
Bye.